Let's get started with understanding a bit deeper about the Adafruit Feather 32 or Huzzah 32 module that we have selected and we are going to use throughout this course. As I have explained to you before also, the module makes it easier to use the actual ESP32 chip. So this gives you access to power supply, USB interface, the number of ports are very nicely laid out outside. You can see in my board, these are the number of pins which are available over here and you will have easy access to them. That's why we use the module and we are going to use this Adafruit module. As we have discussed this already, there are lots of different modules available which may cause a lot of confusion. So we prefer to use ESP32 Huzzah. These are the pictures of the front and back side of this module when the pins like this are not soldered. Okay, you need to solder these pins by yourself so that you can insert it into a breadboard for experimenting. Now let's see what are the things which are available on the ESP32 Huzzah board. Let's try to understand the hardware perspective very clearly. I want you to focus and understand this session very well because it may happen that throughout your programming, you may be trying to use some particular pin and the ESP32 is not behaving as it should according to your code. The reason being some of the pins are not usable when you're using Wi-Fi. So just get a clarity about this thing, the entire clarity about the board. Although what we can observe here is this is the battery connector. ESP32 Huzzah also comes with an onboard battery charger. You may find it a little bit expensive, but considering the utility, it's great. You can directly connect any lithium ion battery, which is 3.7 volt rated, directly to it and it can start using, or you can start using it. Connect USB port to connect a USB cable to this pin and the battery will also get charged. So this is the biggest advantage of having the ESP32 Huzzah board. Apart from that, we can notice the USB port interface here. Then there are two tiny LEDs which you can see over here. This is a reset push button. Then there are some ICs over here and this is the exact module. If you turn over your board, then you can also see, because it's an Adafruit board, there is absolutely one of the biggest name in the creation of embedded hardware. Everything is very nicely laid out and written over here, even the alternate functions. So this pin is I2C's SCL pin as well as pin number 22. This is SDA pin as well as pin number 23. So a very detailed care has been taken by Adafruit while creating these boards so as to make our life easier. Let's get started. Now these are the power pins on the ESP32 board. So whenever you have the board in your hand, you have to hold it with the antenna on the right hand side. If I turn it over, you will see it in left hand side, but when I observe it like this, from my point of view, it is on the right hand side. So when I'm looking at it like here, the pins exactly besides the battery connector are BAT, EN and USB. These are some of the power pins which are used to power up the ESP32, and on the bottom you can see 3 volt and ground pin. Now when you are using a USB connector, you don't need to worry about any of those things. There is a power supply on it which generates the 3.3 volts and it is given at this point. If you're not using battery, then you don't need to worry about these pins either. We'll discuss that later on when we try to use battery. So just ignore these 3 pins and these 2 pins whenever you are trying to interface anything with ESP32 and ignore them positively. Because if you connect something different over here, you may end up frying your chip and you will not even understand it. So just ignore these pins for sure. Next, you can see the usable, simple, general purpose IO pins on ESP32. What you see on this slide, what you see on the current slide is all the pins which are directly usable without worrying about anything. Pin number 13, pin number 12, 27, 33, 15, 32 and 14, and then A0, A1, A2, A3, A1, A5. So you can use these pins for sure without worrying. We'll discuss about these analog input pins later on. So these are the digital outputs and then these are the analog inputs. Apart from that, we have SCK, SCL here and TX, RX here. We'll discuss about them. So 21, A5, A4, A2, A1, A3, A0, 13, 12, 27, 33, 15, 32, 14. These are the pins. Now, why I was a little bit slowed down in telling you about analog pins, the reason is here. A0 pin is an analog input pin and also an analog output pin, that is called as DSC2. If you turn it over, it is mentioned there. Yeah, it is mentioned clearly, DSC1, DSC2 and like that. Look at here. So this is the DSC2, DSC1, pins like that. So A0 is that. It can also be used as GPIO, and when you use it as a GPIO, you need to refer to it as pin number 26. About pin number A1, again it is analog input and analog output, which is DSC1. If you want to use it as a general purpose input output pin, you can use it as pin number 25. Now, pin number A2, A3, A4. These are purely analog input pin or general purpose input pins. So this is an analog input and also GPI. There is no output facility on pin number A2, A3 and A4. That's the reason why I was telling you this session is very important. Please pay close attention. Then pin number A5. This is an analog input pin and also GPIO 4. So A5 is analog input and GPIO 4. A2, A3, A4 are analog and digital input only. A0, A1 are analog input, analog output, digital input as well as digital output pins. So this is how these pins are structured. And then there are UART pins over here, which are RX and TX, and pin number 21 is a general purpose input output pin. Now, the important thing about the analog pins, that's very one of the very important thing is when you are using Wi-Fi. When you are using the Wi-Fi, which we are anyways definitely going to use, then you can only read the analog inputs on ADC2 pin, because all other pins are shared with Wi-Fi module. Just understand that the A2 pin can only be used as analog input, of course, not even digital output, when you are using the Wi-Fi facility that is provided by this chip. Now, apart from these pins, there is SCK, MO, MI, which is over here. You can see SCK, MO, MI. These are the pins for SCK, the SPI protocol. Generally, it requires 4 wires. The fourth one is CS or chip select. You can use any other pin as chip select for your SPI peripheral. Then there is TX-RX, which are the on-chip UART pins. Pin number 21, a general purpose digital input output. Then on the top side, you can see from pin number 13, this is also an analog input, A12. It's also connected to the red LED next to the USB port. These things are very important when we are starting to use a microcontroller or when we are starting to use ESP board. We have to understand which pin goes to LED, which pin goes to analog, which pin goes to digital, and with Adafruit Huzzah32, all those things are very properly laid down. Then the pin besides it is pin number 12. It can be used also as an analog input, calling it A11. This pin has a pull down resistor built into it. We recommend using it only as output only, or making sure that the pull down is not affected during boot. So let's try to understand that pin number 12 has to be used only for output purpose. Pin number 27 is also an analog input pin, A10 on ADC2 as well as GPIO. 33 is GPIO 33, also an analog input pin A9. Now pin number 15 is GPIO 15 and analog input pin A8. 32 is GPIO 32, also an analog input pin called A7. Now these two pins can also be used to connect a 32 kHz crystal for on-chip RTC. In that case, if you are using it, then you will not be able to use this pins as GPIO. And lastly, pin number 14 is there, which is also an analog input pin A6. Then SCL, SDA are I2C pins only, and it is recommended that you do not try to use them as digital input output pin. All in all, you have to understand one thing, that when you are using the ADC, when you are using the Wi-Fi facility, you can only use analog pin 2. Now this is a very nice representation of the entire board, what each pin does, what is the function of each pin. So you can see GPIO 21 and 17 and 16 are just primarily that's it. So 17 is TX, 16 is RX, you can use them. Then the SPI pins SCK, MO, MI can also be used through programming as GPIO, calling it GPIO 19, 18 and 5. A5 pin, here what you see is A5 and GPIO 4 if you want to use it, and this is also a touch input pin. So this is very important. Understand that throughout our experimentation, this will be the main center point or reference point for us. When we do experimenting, when we create this kind of things in our labs, or when we're working on this kind of things in our lab, what we usually do is we take a printout of this particular screen. We take a printout of this particular thing because we need it. We're going to need it throughout our experimentation. Where do we connect LED, where do we connect switch, and where do this, where to do that, and all these sort of things. I guess this is pretty much clear to you and enough for you to grasp. This image will also be provided additionally. If not, there is it's present in the presentation that I'm going to share with you anyway. Thank you for watching this video. In the next video, we'll try to create or we'll try to start working on the Arduino IDE for Huzzah32 board. Thank you.